Take the bus to your graduation, Dad said without looking up from his phone. We need to take your brother car shopping that morning. He's had his eye on the new Tesla. I stood in our luxury kitchen, still holding my graduation invitation. After 4 years of maintaining a perfect GPA at Stanford Business School while secretly building my tech empire, this was the final straw. It's my graduation, Dad, I said quietly. From Stanford. With honors. Mom fluttered around the kitchen, avoiding eye contact. Olivia, honey, you know how important this is for Andrew. He just made junior partner at his law firm. He needs to make the right impression. Right impression. That's all they'd ever cared about. My brother Andrew, with his law degree and designer suits, was their pride and joy. Meanwhile, I was the disappointment who'd turned down a stable law career to study business and technology. The bus route goes right to campus, Dad added, finally glancing up. Besides, it's not like you have anyone special coming to watch. No boyfriend, no big career plans. If only they knew. But they'd never bothered to ask what I actually did with my time. Never questioned how I paid for my apartment in Palo Alto or funded my little tech projects, as they called them. Fine, I said, turning to leave. Enjoy the Tesla showroom. Back in my apartment, I checked my crypto holdings, up another billion after my latest blockchain platform went viral in Asia. My phone buzzed with messages from my executive team, updating me on our newest acquisition. Miss Walker, my AI assistant chimed. The board meeting for Walker Tech is scheduled for tomorrow at 9 a.m. Also, Forbes wants to confirm the photo shoot for their 30 under 30 foot cover. I smiled, remembering Dad's comment about no career plans. If he'd ever bothered to look beyond his precious Andrew, he might have noticed that his 24-year-old daughter had built a $13.8 billion tech empire right under his nose. The next morning, I woke up to news alerts about Walker Tech's latest innovation, a revolutionary quantum computing breakthrough that had our stock soaring. My phone lit up with a text from Andrew. Hey sis, getting my new Tesla today. Dad's going all out Model-S plaid. Maybe you can get a ride sometime, winking face. I glanced out my window at my garage, where my limited edition Bugatti sat next to my own Tesla, one I'd bought directly from Elon Musk during a private meeting last month. But of course my family didn't know about that either. 3 days before graduation, Mom called. Honey, about graduation, we might be a little late. Andrew's Tesla needs some custom modifications, and the appointment is that morning. Don't worry about it, I cut her off. I'm sure the bus will get me there on time. What they didn't know was that I'd arranged something special for graduation day. Something that would finally force them to see me, really see me for the first time. The morning of graduation, I dressed carefully in a custom Chanel suit under my graduation robe. My phone buzzed with congratulations from tech CEOs and world leaders, people who actually knew who I was. As I prepared to leave, my assistant called. Miss Walker, everything is set for today. The dean has the announcement ready, and the Wall Street Journal is running the story right after the ceremony. Perfect, I smiled, grabbing my keys, to the Bugatti, not the bus. Time to show my family exactly what their disappointment has been up to. I arrived at Stanford's campus early, watching as families streamed in. Right on schedule, I saw my parents and Andrew pull up in his new Tesla, all of them looking proud and polished. They didn't even notice me walking past them toward the graduates' gathering area. The ceremony began and I sat quietly, waiting for the moment I'd planned. The dean approached the podium, clearing his throat for what would be the most important announcement of the day. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Andrew. Nice of you to actually show up. Too bad you had to take the bus, face with tears of joy. I smiled, tucking my phone away. In about 10 minutes, that Tesla wouldn't seem quite so impressive anymore. The graduation ceremony proceeded with its usual pomp and circumstance. From my seat, I could see my family in the audience. Dad checking his phone, Mom admiring Andrew's new Tesla key fob, and Andrew himself taking selfies with his car visible in the background. Then came the moment I'd been waiting for. Before we begin conferring degrees, the dean announced, his voice carrying across the packed auditorium, we have a special recognition to make. Stanford Business School has a long history of exceptional graduates, but today we celebrate someone truly extraordinary. I felt my heart racing as he continued. Among us sits the youngest self-made billionaire in tech history. At just 24, she has revolutionized quantum computing, blockchain technology, and artificial intelligence. Her companies employ over 20,000 people worldwide, and her innovations have changed the very fabric of modern technology. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. I could see my father finally looking up from his phone, his brow furrowed in confusion. Please join me in recognizing Olivia Walker, founder and CEO of Walker Tech Enterprises, whose net worth exceeded $13.8 billion this morning after her company's latest breakthrough in quantum computing. The auditorium erupted in gasps and applause. I stood up, smoothing my graduation robe. Through the sea of faces I found my family. Mom's program had slipped from her fingers. Andrew's mouth hung open, his Tesla keys forgotten in his lap. Dad looked like he'd seen a ghost. Miss Walker, the dean continued, has also made history by becoming the largest private donor in Stanford's history, with her recent $2 billion contribution to our technology and research departments. More applause. More gasps. I made my way to the stage as photos of my achievements flashed on the giant screens, my companies, my innovations, my successes. All the things my family had never bothered to notice. And now, the dean smiled, Miss Walker would like to say a few words. I approached the podium, removing my graduation robe to reveal my Chanel suit. The audience fell silent. Thank you, Dean Matthews. 4 years ago I started my journey at Stanford with a dream and an algorithm. While everyone thought I was just studying, I was building. While some were buying cars, I paused, letting my eyes find Andrew. I was creating the future. I could see reporters scribbling frantically, cameras flashing. The Wall Street Journal article would be going live any minute now. Today, Walker Tech Enterprises isn't just a company, it's a revolution. Our quantum computing breakthrough this morning didn't just make headlines. It changed what's possible. And yes, I did all this while maintaining a perfect GPA. Mom was crying now, but for once they weren't tears of disappointment. Dad sat frozen, probably calculating how many Teslas you could buy with $13.8 billion. To those who think success has a single path, who measure worth by the car you drive or the law firm you work for, think bigger. Sometimes the biggest achievements happen quietly, while everyone else is looking the other way. I pulled out my phone, displaying the latest Walker Tech stock price on the screens. The numbers made Andrew's Tesla look like pocket change. And yes, Dad, I added, allowing myself a small smile, I did take the bus sometimes. Not because I had to, but because while everyone was showing off their cars, I was busy building an empire. The applause was deafening. In the audience, I could see tech industry leaders, people who'd known my secret all along, nodding in approval. My executive team, scattered throughout the crowd, were grinning proudly. As I returned to my seat, my phone buzzed with a message from my assistant. Your Bugatti is ready out front for the photos, Miss Walker. And the Wall Street Journal article just went live. Perfect timing. After the ceremony, I stood by my Bugatti while photographers captured the youngest billionaire graduate for their headlines. The car's crystal white finish gleamed in the California sun, making Andrew's Tesla look almost ordinary in comparison. I watched my family approaching slowly, like they were walking through a dream. Mom's makeup was streaked with tears, Dad's usual confident stride had vanished, and Andrew, well, he looked like someone had just told him Santa wasn't real. Olivia. Mom's voice trembled. How, when? For years, I said simply, handing my keys to the valet. While you were all focused on Andrew's law career, I built something bigger. But you never said anything, Dad stammered, his eyes darting between me and the reporters. All those times we talked about your future. You mean all those times you talked about my lack of direction? I corrected him. You never asked what I was actually doing. You were too busy buying Teslas. Andrew stepped forward, his new car keys clutched tightly in his hand. This isn't possible. You're my little sister. You're a billionaire? I finished for him. CEO of 5 companies. Owner of the largest quantum computing platform in the world. Yes, I am. And I did it all while you were making fun of me for taking the bus. My assistant appeared with a tablet. Miss Walker, Mr. Musk is on the line. He wants to discuss the satellite partnership. Tell him I'll call back, I said, watching my father's eyes widen at the casual mention of Elon Musk. I'm having a family moment. Mom burst into fresh tears. Why didn't you tell us? We're your family. Would you have believed me? I asked quietly. When I tried to tell you about my first company, you told me to focus on finding a husband. When I mentioned my tech projects, Dad suggested I get a real job like Andrew. My phone buzzed, another stock alert. Walker Tech had jumped another 12% since the graduation announcement. I wanted to prove something, I continued. Not just to you but to everyone who thinks success only looks one way. While you were all focused on appearances, I was focused on innovation. Dad stepped forward, his voice uncharacteristically humble. Olivia, we were wrong. I know, I smiled. But that's not why I did this. I did it because I saw a future nobody else could see. The fact that it finally made you notice me? That's just a bonus. Andrew was still staring at my Bugatti. All those times I offered you rides. I had a driver, I shrugged. And this car. And that one. I pointed to the McLaren parked nearby. And a few others. But watching you all think I couldn't afford basic transportation? That was educational. A group of tech executives approached, waiting to speak with me. The Wall Street Journal article had gone viral, and my phone wouldn't stop buzzing with congratulations and partnership offers. I have meetings, I told my family. But let's have dinner tonight. I'll send my jet to pick up Grammy. She's known about this all along. She was my first investor. Grammy knew. Mom gasped. Of course she did. She actually asked what I was doing with my life instead of telling me what I should be doing. As I turned to leave, Dad caught my arm. We were so wrong about you. So focused on the wrong things. Yes, you were, I agreed. But here's the thing about success, Dad. It doesn't need anyone's permission or approval. It just needs vision and determination. I handed him a business card, sleek, black, with just my name and CO Walker Tech Enterprises in silver. Tonight, 7 p.m. at my penthouse. The driver knows the way. And Andrew. I called over my shoulder. You might want to park that Tesla around back. The security team needs the front spaces for the Forbes photo shoot. As I walked away, surrounded by executives and reporters, I heard Andrew mutter, I can't believe my little sister is a billionaire. I smiled, remembering all the times they dismissed me, underestimated me, ignored my potential. Sometimes the best revenge isn't proving people wrong. It's becoming so incredibly right that they can never see you the same way again. That evening, as my family sat in my penthouse, still processing the day's revelations, I raised my glass in a toast to taking the bus and building an empire while everyone else was showing off their cars. The view of Stanford from my windows was spectacular, but the view of my family's changed perspective? That was priceless.